Peter, I love our theme song.
I do too. I never tire of it.
It makes me happy every time I hear it.
I think we should try to hear it once a week.
At the beginning of the show?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, let's do that.
Brian, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
And to yours. And this is a very special How Was Your Run Today Thanksgiving episode that we always do every year.
Twice.
So gobble, gobble.
Mm-hmm. Strap on the feed bag.
Strap on your feed bag. Come and get it.
I'm ready to strap on the feed bag.
I'm going to try really hard not to eat any leftover turkey curry this year. I'm going to go out of my way to not do that.
I've forgotten all about that.
I'm trying to be a learning machine. I'm trying not to make the exact same mistakes. Much like I'm not running every single day in December, I'm going to try not to eat turkey curry that's gone rancid.
I think that this show is so helpful for you because it enables you to record
all my mistakes,
all your mistakes, and then learn from them. I think one of the service our listeners could do is remind Peter on a regular basis of all the mistakes he's made and not to do them again. I think that would be good.
Yeah, you can use any number of social media platforms to remind me almost daily of all the mistakes you've heard me make.
Don't run every day of the month.
No, boy, there's
Don't eat rancid food.
All you got to do is just start with episode 1, and I bet you're going to find 2 or 3 in every episode. Maybe we should have a competition for who can find the most things I've done wrong in all the episodes. That'd be a fun list. Hey, speaking of all the episodes, I had an idea, Brian. As you know, Brian, you are going to be running the Millinocket Marathon up in Millinocket, Maine.
Where's the finish line? Which way to the finish line? You can't get there from here.
I am so excited for it. It's real. It's not very far away. I'm psyched.
You can reach out and touch it. I'm so excited. And one thought I had was, we're going to have a good 5 or 6 hours to kill on the way there, maybe more, depending on stops we make to try, food out.
Depending on snowfall. Many
things.
Road conditions.
Thought it might be good for our minds that we power marathon every episode of our show and just constantly hear our own voices all the way up there.
Well, we could do that if we played it at 4 times speed.
Why? How many? This is episode 54, and let's say the average to be 30 to 40 minutes each. That's an average.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's 25 hours.
Yeah, we'd have to drive to California.
Maybe we should go Great Lakes and then hook a right. to get to Millinocket, Maine. It was just a thought.
I don't think so.
Maybe we do a best of, just for you and me.
And everybody else in the car?
Yeah, that list is growing.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a caravan.
They're going to revolt.
There's a lot of people going now. This is going to
say, we're crazy. Hearing your actual human live voices. We don't need to hear them on tape.
It was just a thought. Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
How was your run today?
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Well, it's in the title.
Peter, I've been so good with my training plan this time around.
You're taking it very, 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 very seriously, and it's inspiring.
And what I've done is I've stretched appropriately and done all the things so that the next day when I need to do my run, that's happened. And I did a 20-miler last weekend. Anyway, long story short is, as you know, I was in Colorado this past week.
As you go every year around this time.
Seems to be. And we had typical Colorado weather, which was 80 one day and snow the next day, which is fine. And again, every time I'm surprised how difficult it is to run with the thin air. But I did fine. I did speed work. I did a 5-miler. And then on Friday morning, I did go and do a November Project Denver. And I have to tell you, we here in the Northeast get a bad rap of maybe being a little curmudgeon-y, maybe not being as friendly as we could be. I usually, brush that off. I don't really think that's true. Then you go to a place like Denver and everyone is really, really, really nice.
So polite. So nice, so giving.
Someone actually followed me afterwards and was like, "Hey, I don't recognize you. Are you new?" And then talked to me for 4 blocks as she walked to her car, and I went to where my hotel was. And everybody was so super nice and supportive. And not that doesn't happen here, but it was over the top in Denver.
It does happen here, but I think it's I think in other parts of the country, in places like the South and places in the West, there's a level of civility that we, I don't know what we do that's a little bit different.
We just ignore each other is what we do most of the time.
I guess we do.
Yeah.
We parallel play more. I don't know.
I think that's what it is. It's not actual. Well, some people construe it as rudeness, I think, or it comes off sometimes as rude. But really, it's saying, "Hey, you're doing your thing. I'm doing my thing. I don't want to get in your space."
Now,
I think that's how I approach it. Anyway.
I think that's right. Now, have you noticed in different states that you've been in? Because now I believe that if we were to go to the big board.
Yeah.
And do where's Brian joined what November Project tribe?
Sure.
We now have Massachusetts,
Boston, yeah.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Correct.
Was it Denver or Boulder that you were in?
It was Denver.
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Am I missing one? I feel like there's one more.
Yeah, New York City, Peter.
New York
Have
City,
you heard of it?
New York.
Right.
That's 4. So now you're representing 4 states?
I don't represent anything. I've just visited them and
you
done
do.
the
You
workouts.
don't stand for a thing. I've noticed that.
No.
You don't rep anything.
No, I'm just my own person.
You are. No man's an island, but you come close.
But let me tell you,
Go ahead.
I got home, and there's only a 2-hour time difference. It really shouldn't affect me that much. But this morning I woke up with a 14-miler on my plate on the schedule for today. And now remember, I did 20-21 last week. It's,
It's a
all right.
fallback. It's a fallback week.
Fallback.
Nothing.
Oh, every muscle in my body ached. My bones hurt. I couldn't really get the sleep out of my eyes. I finally, around 10 o'clock in the morning, trudged out there and scraped together 5 miles. Now, after a couple miles, things loosened up and it was okay. But after 5, I just said, you know what, I'm done. And I had done a loop where I could jump out early because I knew that was probably going to be what happened. But I have hit the point in the training where it's really hard. I couldn't mentally get myself up to do 14 today, and I had a very short debate with myself and saying, well, is this going to affect my marathon? And then I said, well, I'm going to show up there and do it, so I hope not. And I still have a lot of training. I still have a long run next weekend, at 2021 next weekend.
May I tell you how I feel about all those things?
Please.
Brian, as you know...
Can you just use family-friendly language, though?
Doubtful. Brian, as you know, I am not a medical doctor, but...
I'm not either.
You flew in a cylinder at high altitude across the great country of America.
I did do that.
You flew back in time.
That's true.
You're on that second day of that, coming out of that, which is always the worst day. I don't know why, but always the second day. And that's true for actually running a marathon too. It's always the second day after that hurts the most.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is fatigued. It is worn out. You are mentally tired. I'm going to hazard a guess that you haven't slept pretty well or for a long enough amount of time, really.
Not since I've been back, no.
I can tell by your pallor you're not drinking nearly enough water. Don't lie. Don't lie.
Okay.
I think this is nothing to be worried about. I think you went out and made a great effort at 5. I'd like to see you get back out there today and finish out the 14. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd like you to strap
I could imagine another 5. I don't think I could do 9.
Strap on the shoes again. Strap the shoes on again and get back out.
All right.
And pound out what?
It'd be 9 more.
That's a lot, huh?
And it's supposed to be progression, so I'm supposed to speed up the last 4 miles. It's supposed to be faster and faster and faster and faster.
Okay, but what we've learned, if we've learned anything from Stat Chat,
yes,
I have something to share with you, by the way. Here, hold on to yourself. Here,
okay.
Hear this.
HWYR-T sent you a request. It says Stat Chat. Would you like to reply? Would you like to reply? Would you like to reply?
If we've learned anything, isn't that awesome?
That's brilliant.
If we've learned anything from Stat Chat, what we're hearing from around the country, especially the middle of the country, they're getting pummeled with bad weather.
That's true.
We are fortunate enough to still be a little overcast, high 40s. It's windy. I'll give you that. It's windy.
Oh, no, actually, the weather wound up keeping me out there a little longer. And there's a ton of but there's just a ton of animals out there. My little neck of the woods here has chickens and sheep and cows and cattle and a giant flock of wild turkeys roaming around. So it's kind of cool to see all those animals on my run.
I have been here now in the HWYR-T studios for a little over an hour.
Yeah.
Because that's how long our vocal exercises take before we take to the mic. I've been keeping this from you because I wanted to share it for on air.
Okay.
And you've given me the perfect segue. On my drive up here,
Yeah.
not 40, 50 yards from your house, on the opposite side of the street, big as life, a buck.
What?
And full horns.
No way.
I
think they're called antlers.
Well, okay, but like I'm going to use a term here that
deer horns.
Okay, so he had his guy.
Was it a unicorn?
It was a guy deer horn thing.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't quite count, but I'm gonna call it an 8-pointer.
Yeah, okay.
4 and 4.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it?
Sure.
Because I don't hunt. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And he did the full stop. He did the full turn. He's in the middle of some guy's yard.
This was in the middle of the day here.
There's like, yeah.
Wow.
Like just 11:30 in the morning.
My goodness.
And he heard me stop the car.
Right.
And he gave a little over the shoulder like, hey.
Hey, Peter, I recognize you from the show.
I start to say, hey, Mr. Buck, how was your run today?
Yeah.
Well, boom, he shows me. He shows me the run.
And how was it?
It was pretty amazing because it was like 2-3 bounds and he was in the brush and gone into the woods. I've never, ever, ever in my life seen a male deer. I've only seen females and the kids.
Oh, really?
So it was amazing, and they're much bigger than I thought.
They're big, strong animals, that's for sure.
So that was over there.
Oh,
yeah.
Wonder if that's what my dogs were barking at.
Could have been.
Could have been.
But nature is impressive. Oh, this is a long way to say, get out there, man. Be the buck. Run out. Run the 9. Run the 9, man.
Oh, it hurts so much, Peter.
I know you have commitments. I know you have schedules. You know what, Brian? No one has time to run. You have to make time.
Peter, I didn't come to the show to be berated.
No.
But I guess I'm appreciative.
You do take it like a champ, though.
Of being talked down to. Hey, Peter.
Yes?
How was your run today?
Yeah, no, I haven't done one. Not going to. And that's fine. And I'm at peace with it. I'm not like you over there, halfway through something, going through a lot of turmoil about it. I'm good.
I'm actually feeling okay. Well, how's physical therapy going?
Well,
I know that you're still coming back through it.
I'm so glad you asked. My run yesterday was excellent, and that's the closest one to this here show. So that was a 3.6er. Beautiful weather.
You know, you are going from 0 to 1,000, I have to say.
I'm not doing that.
You are. You're running 5Ks like you never stopped.
No, I don't believe that's true, but I thank you for the support. It was a slow 3.6. I think I averaged around a 10:30 mile, which is a little bit slower than my last run, but I did go for about 2 minutes longer than my last run. So I'm up to about 38 minutes of constant running.
So the question is, how is the pain?
Pain is not there. The pain is there the next day after I sleep for a few seconds, but not like it was. And I will have my final follow-up with my doctor this coming week, just before the holiday. And I'm sure he'll say, yeah, guess what? This is the new way it's going to be. This is your age, and you have to be mindful of it and do those things that prevent further injury. And what are those things? In my case, it's, hey, don't run every single day.
Yeah.
Just for bragging rights on a podcast show. Hey, wear the right inserts for your stabilizing needs. Wear the right shoes, stretch accordingly, you know, all those things.
All the things that as soon as we start to feel really good, we forget all about and take for granted until we injure ourselves again.
I'll tell you what I am going to do, which no one has said to do, and it's totally cockamamie, but I'm going to start putting back into my diet fish oils as a supplement. It's the only supplement I've ever taken as an adult. It's the only one I think I need because I don't eat any seafood. I just don't like stuff from the ocean. So I think I'm missing out on the healing properties of fish oil, which I believe in my mind keep my tendons and ligaments from, I don't know, they keep moist. I think that's the appropriate technical term. I have moist ligaments when I do fish oil.
Well, I don't know if any of that is true.
It's
but
not.
Fish oil certainly does have other benefits, and you should be taking it anyway.
I'm going to do that. So to answer your other question, let me tell you a little something about physical therapy.
Go for it.
Friend of the show, friend of my feet, Jillian Block.
Yeah, your physical therapist.
My physical therapist. I see her last week, and she said, I think you're bumping down to just once a week now. I'll see you one day next week. I said, okay, great. We'll make the appointment. I show up. She's got a lot of things going on. She's very busy. I get on the treadmill to do my warm-up. I end up running for like 12 minutes straight. I get off the treadmill. I'm sweaty. And I say, okay, what's next? And she basically says, no, that's pretty much it. You're done. And I said, no. I mean, like, what are we doing next for exercises and for stretches? And she's like, no, I think you're clearly able to do these things that, let's look back at the paperwork. What was your goal? And I said, to run comfortably, to do this thing. She's like, I think you're there. We'll keep a couple of appointments open in the referral thing so you can come back should another injury befall you. But no, you're pretty much done. Very proud of the work you're doing. Keep it up. If you want to come talk to me, you can. Goodbye.
So you basically got thrown out of physical therapy.
No, she broke up with me. And you should have seen me because like I was all sweaty and weird and like I had my clothes to change into, but it didn't feel right to stick around. So I like grabbed my belongings and held them.
Walk of shame, right?
And said goodbye. And it was like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. It was really... I
have no more interest in you.
And I was kind of emotional about it. Like, wait, we've been on this 13-week journey together. And she's like, I got to finish up with this other patient. Thanks. Yeah. And it's just business for her, which I get it. I get it. I'd like her to come on the show at some point and talk about it.
Well, that would be great.
I don't think she has any interest in that whatsoever. But I think she has done some runs listening to our show, which is always nice to hear. That
of course
if we've helped in any way. She's very physically active anyway. She plays a lot of soccer and other things. But so
I think it just shows that you're
dumped.
through the other side of it, Peter.
Well, that of course does show that, but not too sure where to go now.
Well,
what to do with my free time.
I'm going to be a little lost after the Millinocket Marathon because...
Oh, you'll have no purpose whatsoever.
I'll have no purpose.
None.
I'm going to take several weeks off from running altogether.
Yep.
I'm not going to have a little chart to tell me what to do the next day.
What to eat, when to eat, how to eat, where to sleep. No,
and
you're done.
How far to run, and I don't know what is going to happen to me.
I think you're going right to the ultras.
I don't think so.
No, and I'm lucky.
Maybe I'll run. This is how I would do it. One day I'd run an ultra, then I wouldn't run again for about 6 months, and then I would try another ultra. I can't do the long ramp up. Once the mileage gets too high, as we're seeing, my body just starts to break down completely. That's, I think, what we're witnessing is I'm deteriorating right now, and I will show up.
You're in total failure.
I mean, that's why we have to taper, right?
Yeah, and so this is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody right now. You're days away from this thing. Is your taper started yet? When do you start? Do you get one more giant one in?
One more giant one. After I'm full of turkey and stuffing and all the other good stuff and pie. Thank you very much.
Pie.
I will then run 20 miles. Wow. 20 or 21 that weekend.
Yeah, let's get specific.
And then that's when my taper begins. So after this long run on this weekend, post-Thanksgiving, then the taper. And I have to say, I have never been more looking forward to the taper. Usually... Yeah,
it's something you don't want.
You're thinking, no, I need to get faster. Or I need to know that I'll be able to do this distance, either for half marathons or the one Boston Marathon that I've run. I've thought, no, I have to keep ramping up because I'm not there yet. Peter, I'm going to say this right now. You know that I have a main goal and many, many sub-goals. Whether or not I hit any of those, I'm ready for this marathon.
I believe that's true.
I'm ready to run it. I'm ready to take on whatever Millinocket and Mother Nature have to offer me. And I'm good to go. I'm not so sure I'm ready to continue my training.
Well, that sounds to me.
I'm ready. I could start my taper right now and take an extra couple of weeks of taper. But
I'm hearing in you that you are more prepared than you've ever been, and you've done your training right probably more than you've ever done, because I think your body's saying, yeah, taper right now would be amazing. Let's get to that.
Yeah, and I have taken an extra day here or there, very rarely, but after my long runs, I have done it, or I've moved my schedule around.
Nothing wrong with it.
But, I'm not going to mind, after I get another day of rest, I'm not going to mind doing this week's workouts. Actually, I'll probably look forward to it. And it just tells me this was a mistake I made, Peter, and I'll admit it right now.
That's all you do. I love it. Go ahead.
On this trip, I almost always pack my foam roller, I didn't do it.
Oh!
So I did do a little stretching, but I didn't foam roll, and that's what's happened.
Come on.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now.
Although it's an awkward thing to pack. I mean, it takes up space.
Well, you put all your socks and underwear and stuff into the foam roller, and
oh, brilliant!
Yeah, that's what I usually do. But
nice.
I knew I substituted foam roller for my hiking boots, which I like to have out there and needed.
Did you use them?
Yeah, sure. So that's what that was all about. So
right,
I didn't bring my foam roller.
You have not tenderized yourself to the appropriate level that you're used to.
That's correct.
I don't want to harsh you, but I got to know. Are you looking at Friday? You're looking at Saturday? Which day is the 21?
No, I think it's probably going to be Saturday.
Oh, wow. Because you're gonna strap on the feed bag on Thursday.
Big time.
As we all shall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're like this, but on Friday, for some reason, I always end up eating more on Friday than I do on actual Thanksgiving.
I'm usually in a kind of a comatose state.
Because you're a rookie and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm a professional eater.
Right. So I don't really know what happens on Friday after Thanksgiving.
Not much. Some people go shopping and I stay away from all that.
I don't do that.
I like to, you know what I like to do? I like to organize my closet on the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm usually couch bound.
I might go for a small run on Friday.
Yeah.
But I want to be thinking about you on Saturday when you're doing your 21. So just give me a text and let me know that happened.
Well, why don't I tune into stat chat?
Why would you? You're always the last one in. You're so late. Speaking of that, we've gotten some people saying on the stat chat, "Oh, I'm sorry I'm posting late." There's never a late fee on stat chat. When we open up stat chat around 7, 8 in the morning on Saturday, you know what? The shelf life of that? Forever. You can post in any given one, any given time through, until probably the next one. But you got 6.5 days. Go nuts, man. Take your time. Don't rush.
Anytime.
Anytime's good. I wonder if we should do a special T-Day stat chat. No, we'll wait till Saturday.
No, keep it Saturday.
It's in the title.
Because, remember, we do have this bumper.
HWYR-T sent you a request. It says stat chat. Would you like to reply? Would you like to reply? Would you like to reply?
That's awesome.
I love it so much.
We rarely play a bumper twice in a show.
Yeah.
But this one's so fun. Well done. Hey, speaking of Thanksgiving, a lot of people listening to this right now, Brian, are in the middle of getting to wherever it is they're going, or they're not going and they're sort of stuck where they are and have given up.
Some mode of transportation.
Something is happening where they're moving or not moving, but wish they were moving. So I wanted to let people know we don't usually do this. We usually talk about, when we talk about books, we talk about running books, but I wanted to recommend a book to our listeners.
That you can read while driving?
You could get the audiobook, I guess.
Oh, that's true.
If there is one. But I picked this up. The place where we work, we have a giveaway, getaway type table, like where people bring in nice things and share things.
I think it's called a free table.
Sometimes it's called a free or a lending library table.
Okay.
So the book I would like to suggest to you and to anyone interested in this topic is called Move, How to Rebuild and Reinvent America's Infrastructure by Rosabeth Moss Cantor.
Of the Harvard Business School?
She is. She's a professor there, and she wrote this interesting book this past year called Move. And it's really about the state of our infrastructure, highways, train lines, airlines, how it got the way it is, and most likely where it should go in terms of mobility and multimodal transportation. It's kind of interesting in the sense that there's a lot of talk going on right now about a giant plan for the infrastructure of the country coming up in the next few years. We'll see. But I thought while people were involved in many traffic jams right now, and I apologize to everyone listening right now who's stuck in traffic, this is an interesting read. She covers a lot of topics, and you'll learn a ton about how we really got to where we are. We made a lot of investment post-World War II in a very specific way of going. And
the interstate highway.
Yeah.
The Eisenhower interstate system.
Yeah. And I see why we did it.
To move people in case there was a nuclear emergency.
Yeah, you got to
get
everybody
So a lot
going.
of people could move away from major metropolitan areas. That's pretty much it, right?
That's the way they sold it, but it was really for the military. It was really for the military to be able to mobilize across the country fast.
And so you could land planes on highways? Is that part of it?
You can have that be a thing, but you can really just move a massive amount of troops from one part of the country to the other should it be necessary. I mean, it was very very Cold War and very hey, this is in the spirit of defense. This is what we got to do, and it was a lot of money at the time. And people,
well, I can tell you, in my neighborhood, not so many decades ago, there were even nuclear missiles down the street in silos.
Sure.
Now there's condos there.
Yeah, and it's better. But fascinating stuff. Rail travel is almost 200 years old.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to know that while the rest of the world has really spent a lot of money on creating very fast magnetic levitation trains and high-speed bullet trains, we have not gone that route. However, we are the world leader in freight train movement. Like we economically do a very good job at moving freight around the country.
We do.
And we keep more trucks from being on the road. And that was a fascinating thing to learn about that. And then she has a whole section on the cockamamie world of air travel and where we should probably go with smart cars and other things like that.
Well, that's cool.
I highly recommend it.
Well, one of the things that I think anybody who drives or commutes on a regular basis in a car wonders about, which is, if we only had more lanes, would that fix it? Or is it a much different problem about, are there just too many cars on the road? And would even the largest highways you could imagine solve that issue?
You need to read this book.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. And then we can have a much deeper conversation about it, because it will change the way you think about everything you're seeing outside. Everything you're seeing.
Let me ask you one more question about this.
Go ahead.
Is the solution individualized jetpacks?
Well, I think it's a combination of everyone needs to be a runner.
That's true.
And it would be awesome if we could levitate.
And move very quickly.
I don't know about speed. Let's not... Easy on the speed, everybody.
I like being able to get to California in 6 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad. And that's where the high-speed rail thing really would matter.
No train is going to get you across the country in 6 hours, Peter.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
What?
We'll see about that, Mr. Naysayer.
That would be really fast. That would be disturbingly fast. You'd have to go 550 miles an hour.
Yeah, probably not that fast.
No.
But, no, but they have trains.
Hey, I've taken the train across the country many times, and I recommend it to anybody. It's a magnificent way to see this grand land of ours.
You know who's got the biggest, in terms of miles it covers, high-speed rail is China. And those ones go upwards of 350 miles per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, but the trick is, if you're building something from scratch and you don't have... like our biggest problem with our commuter rail or our transcontinental passenger rail is that there's too many at-grade crossings. You can't have any crossover with roads. You got to be able to be separate and apart.
Right. You can't go crossing the street at 300 miles an hour.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have to have aqueducts and things higher up, and it's a very interesting thing, and it can be done, but it's a huge, huge, huge investment, and we'll see where we go as a country. While I'm on the subject of recommending things to our audience, Brian, as you know, it's Thanksgiving weekend.
You've mentioned that.
You know what I like to do when I am full of turkey?
What's that?
And I can't stand my family? I like to go to the movies. I like to get on out.
Oh, okay.
Go see the cinema.
Yeah, sometimes we'll hit a movie on Thanksgiving weekend.
It might be pronounced cinema.
No one's ever said that in the history of language.
Okay. I just saw a movie the other night. I thought you would dig it. I think people should go see it, especially if you're a fan of the science fiction stories. It's called Arrival.
Okay.
And
never heard of it.
Well, you should look it up. It's about, hey, if aliens actually show up, how are we going to develop a language, a common way to speak to them?
So this is different than Independence Day or any of the billion other science fiction movies where the aliens come down to kill us, and then in the end we figure out a goofy way to knock out their spacecraft.
Right.
It's not that?
It's really not that.
Oh, okay. I might be interested then.
I think everybody should check it out. I don't dare say much about it because the plot is intricate, and there's some what the young people call spoilers. So I'll just say that it's a beautiful film. It's shot beautifully. The music is beautiful. And the acting's top-notch. And it's a good story.
Can I hazard to guess that this is based on a book?
It's based on a short story.
Oh.
And that by all accounts, this movie is a far better, fuller rendition of what that narrative was trying to give out. So this might be a case where the
film is better than the book.
I'm not saying that because I haven't read the short story, and I may now because I am fascinated to see what the genesis of this was. But I highly, highly, highly give the HWYR-T thunk of approval, which we haven't done in a while.
Not in a long time. And this is called
Arrival. Not to be confused with The Arrival with Charlie Sheen in the late 90s, which handled aliens in a different way, and it's nothing like that. No, this is really a very serious movie. It sets up this thing like, if this were to happen, this might be something we have to do.
Peter, you're approaching spoiler level.
Oh my gosh.
I want you to stop talking about this, or I'm going to lose interest in seeing the movie.
Do the rest of the show by yourself. I'm going to go outside.
Peter, speaking of books and films and all of those things, in this marathon training, I have picked up one of our favorite books here, Haruki Murakami's What I Talk About When I Talk About Running.
It's a great, great book.
And I've reread it, and I just want to share with you one little passage. Indulge me for a moment, will you? Which reflects how I have felt on several long runs, including today's not-so-long run.
Rock me, Amadeus.
He puts it perfectly. I felt like a piece of beef being run slowly through a meat grinder. I had the will to go ahead, but now my whole body was rebelling. It felt like a car trying to go up the slope with the parking brake on. My body felt like it was falling apart and would soon come completely undone. Out of oil, the bolts coming loose, wrong cogs in gear, I was rapidly slowing down as one runner after another slowly passed me. A tiny old lady, around 70 or so, passed me and shouted, "Hang in there! Man alive!" As I ran, different parts of my body, one after the other, began to hurt. First, my right thigh hurt like crazy. Then that pain migrated over to my right knee. Then to my left thigh, and on. All the parts of my body had their chance to take center stage and scream out their complaints. Have you ever had that happen to you?
Oh, sure, yeah. That's
So that's what was going on with me. I had, I was having all these calf problems.
Yeah.
Then out of nowhere, hamstring, glute problems. Oh, my shoulder hurts. What's happening? What is all this? My foot, I had a pain in my right foot that I've never had before.
Yeah, but think about where you were 1 year ago, right? You were just coming out of a really bad injury.
That's true.
You weren't running much at all.
No, I wasn't.
You were miserable to be around.
Well, I had a terrible half marathon because I forced myself to run a half marathon that I probably shouldn't have had any business running.
And you
I was
probably
injured.
did more damage doing that.
I know I did.
So yeah, I can identify with that passage very much so, as can you, because just look at you.
What are you saying? I'm
You
falling
look like
apart?
you do look like a sack of beef that's like in like this mesh netting that someone dropped from a plane.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you look good. Well, listen, I hope you have the best possible holiday in the world.
Peter, this one is called Thanksgiving.
Oh, right.
Do you want to do a little gratitude? Do you have anything you want to be thankful about? You want to share with our listeners?
I don't know. I mean, I'm thankful for so many things.
Well, you're healthy again.
Yeah, I would say I have to say on the top of the list is the ability to run again and to echo Pam Rickard's thought of I get to go run.
Yeah, you don't have to.
No, I don't have to. I choose to, and I get to, and I think that's amazing. So I'm extremely thankful for that.
In all seriousness, I am grateful for Chris Heisler from Run Weston for sharing with us the mantra, you want to be a better runner, be a better person, which as I'm running actually sounds more like better runner, better person, better runner, better person. But it reminds me to smile and high five people and say, hey, look, again, like you said, I'm getting to do this. And what's the goal? Is the goal just to be faster and get across the finish line and all that nonsense? No, it's to make me a better person.
Brian, I agree with you. I also want to add to my thankful list. Is it too late? Can I add another thing that I'm grateful for?
I encourage you to do so.
I got to say, I am grateful for the ability to sit across from you every week and do a little show. And
this little here show?
And this is this here show, this little one, this little show. Every week, 54 weeks in a row, my friend. It's actually more like 57 because we repackaged a couple of shows.
So many weeks.
It's so many weeks. But so it's amazing that we carve out the time and do this, and I'm thankful that for both you and me and our families who support us
and our growing unpaid staff.
Our unpaid staff who put up with all our cockamamie ideas and seem to embrace it, and that would extend all the way into everybody that we say hi to in the credits, because everybody works really hard.
I will say this. As grateful as I am for you to be sitting across from me,
I know, thank you.
I am so thankful for everyone who turn their ear holes toward us every week to hear whatever we have to say, or our growing list of magnificent guests. All of that is fantastic. It's a little astounding and humbling that not only are you and I still speaking to each other, frankly, after a year of doing this show.
What's going on?
But that other people have gotten involved, and that the audience is growing and the community is happening.
Yeah, it's amazing that anyone hits the play button on any device at any given time. That it is humbling, and we are so thankful for that. I'm also really thankful for bread. Can I go to bread? Can I
Bread's
just?
fine. Bread's good.
Carbs,
Crusty bread, yeah.
Carbs are good.
You know, marathon training, everybody talks about how terrible carbs are. You know, run a marathon. Carbs are like your best friend.
I'm also thankful that I didn't throw away all my fat pants because the recovery took a long time.
Yeah, you need them.
And I needed that 2 inches of give, and I'm taken.
Sansa
Sansa Island down in Florida. No, I'm rocking the old belt. That's a little creaky. It moves. Every time I move, it creaks a little bit. No, I'm almost back down to the belt hole that I should be at. I will, of course, alert the media when that happens.
Well, Peter, it was wonderful to go through the thankful list with you, but I think it's time to wrap it up.
Hold on. Wait 1 minute, sir.
Okay.
We got to give my mom something to complain about, because I'm going to be seeing her during the holidays.
So let's make an extra long show.
So if we could just do one more bit. Plus, people are just sitting in traffic. Where are they going to go? What could they possibly listen to other than us?
Well, why don't they listen to an episode of our show they haven't heard?
Oh, that's an interesting thought, right? We have a bunch of new listeners. Thank you, everybody, for coming on board. If you're new to the show, maybe go backwards. Do you have a special one, Brian?
Actually, I'll tell you a little thing that happened to me the other day, which was I ran into, not literally ran into, but
you owe me $5.
Out in the street. Ran into a friend and neighbor who has been catching up on the show on the way to work and is many episodes behind, about 25 episodes behind. He's down in the low 30s at maybe episode 31, 32. Anyway, it's Caleb Danilov. And he was talking about having listened to that show and really enjoying it. And I'm trying to think back as I'm talking with him about it. And I realized that how much the show made a transition at that point. Caleb was one of our early interviews, and he has led to many other people that have been on the show. And also, many things that we had set up for the year. Remember, we were going to both do the circuit, the 5K, 10K, half, and full.
Yeah.
And so he was curious, like, oh, I haven't even heard how Peter did at the New York City Marathon yet.
Oh, that hurts.
I know. And neither of us had done very many November projects, or maybe we had just each done one. So that's been something that's grown with the show. And like I said, many of our other guests and the things that we're dealing with now and talking about now weren't even, or were only in their little germination stage at that point. So it might be interesting to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, that was episode 32 with Caleb. And if I can add again to the thankful list, I'm thankful he came onto our show. He was, he's definitely what I would call a gateway guest. And he enabled us to have other fabulous guests, and we got to have him back real soon, right after the new year, I think.
He has done he's done some incredible runs that we need to talk to him about. He's also been working on very interesting Runner's World articles. One has been about his going vegetarian.
Yes.
And let's have him on early in the new year.
I agree with you. Well, now I think we can let the audience go back to what they were doing, don't you?
I think we have to.
I also think I have to get into the kitchen and start making my HWYR-T stuffing.
Turn the oven on, will you?
I shall.
Hey!
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
This has been episode 54 of How Was Your Run Today with Peter Villa and Brian Gould. Music by Jeff Cronenberg. Anna Brooks is our social media guru. Andrea Bonnie Gould is our artist in residence. Listen to us every week wherever you collect podcasts. Peter makes a delicious Thanksgiving stuffing with his. But whenever you visit that special podcast place, please give us a rating and a comment. Every single one of those makes a difference in how this little here show is ranked.
Join us every Saturday on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram with your Sat Chats. Tell us where you ran, how the weather was, and include a sweet, sweet photo.
Fulfill all of your HWYR-T shopping needs at our Redbubble store.
And if you love HWYR-T, please share our posts on social media. It's free and easier than running a jet-lagged 5 miles, stopping, recording a podcast for the holidays, and going out for another 9. For everything else, please check out the new website at HWYR-T.com. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Peter.
Enjoy the 9 and have a good turkey trot run.
Thank you. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
I'll be busy lying down.
Come on, break.
What is that thing called? What you say to yourself over and over again?
Self-talk, sub-goals, mantra.
I'm going to say I'm really thankful. Okay.
Sorry.
What's so funny about that?
That you couldn't remember that word. That's funny. It's the thing you have to remember, and it's a phrase you would have to remember, and the fact that you can't remember the name of that phrase is hilarious. Don't you see the irony in that? You forgetful Sally.
Isn't that ironic?
No, that's a Alanis Morissette song.
Every fork is a knife.
I have so many spoons.